welcome to Mama Mandala. I'm Hagar. I'm really glad to have this moment with you. This is not an easy time. A lot of people are suffering deeply, whether it's actual physical suffering in places that are hurting right now in the world, and some of us are going through it emotionally. There's a lot of heat in the conversation, be it online, in the media, in social media, and then in public places. It is a heated time. And seasonally right now, it is the time of year when we're going toward the darkness. And over the last few thousand years of history, the darkness has been associated with something that is negative, with something that is even called evil. And really, the darkness is an inseparable part of the cycle of growth. And so, while these are difficult times in the world, in history, in the Middle East, time of war and a lot of death and a lot of pain, the darkness of this season in the northern hemisphere, in fact, is an embrace that can allow us to soften our edges a little bit if we're privileged enough to live in a place under a roof and in spaces where we can allow ourselves to soften the edges, to be in fact less reactive, more spacious, and possibly then through that responsive in ways that are responsible. Then this is what the darkness can be for. It can be for our capacity to rest and then regenerate, to dissolve some of the places in our opinions and in our conversations where we're really stuck, and actually allow ourselves to break down some of our beliefs so that we can show up in ways that are, I want to say, more compassionate, but it's even if it's even further than compassion. It's an ability to hold the complexity. And for me, this is what the dark goddesses are all about. Goddesses like Kali from the Hindu tradition, goddesses like Hecate from pre-Greek. In fact, she's known as a Greek goddess, but she predates Greek mythology by a lot. Goddesses like the Celtic Morgan, goddesses like Inanna that travel to the underworld to meet and reunite and commingle and co-create with the darker version of herself, with her sister, the underworld goddess Ereshkigal. Goddesses from different traditions and different times that invite us into the complexity of our being and simultaneously into a soft embrace. The dark goddesses are often mother goddesses that invite us to rest in their arms. And you can take that, some of us may believe in the energy of the goddess as an actual thing that is the goddess, and some of us take it as a metaphor and as a mythopoetic lens through which we can look at our lives and work through some of our stuff. So wherever you are, I invite you to join me for a moment right now to receive the darkness as a space to, in fact, open ourselves up, be held, and also possibly maybe hold each other in. So come into child's pose, please. And take a moment to allow your head, your forehead to rest on the ground. Take your knees wide apart and take the big toes to touch. Bring your forehead to the earth and your forearms to the earth. And invite yourself right now to listen to where you are, to listen to maybe it's pain, maybe it's worry, maybe it's fear, maybe it's anger, maybe it's everything, maybe it's a commingled, messy soup of emotion and sensation. Maybe you are somaticizing the experience, and your body is hurting because other bodies on the planet are hurting. So wherever you are, receive yourself as you begin to receive your breath more deeply. Make space for your breath to flow. Allow the earth as a dark goddess to hold you, your body, your mind, your heart, your feelings, your thoughts, your sensations. You are held by a force greater than you that is dark as the soil, that is dark as the night sky, that is dark as the dark matter that holds this universe together. And if you haven't already, begin to tone the back of your throat. Begin to breathe with more resonant sound. And as we wrap ourselves around our breath, as we tone the back of the throat and breathe in this way, we signal to ourselves that we are co-participating in this grand orchestra of life, of a universe, of a self and a society and an environment. The breath is something greater than ourselves that pours into us, and as we wrap ourselves around it and breathe this breath called in Sanskrit Ujjayi Pranayama, we are co-participating, co-creating. We are held and we are also holding. Bring yourself to all fours, your hands and your knees. Root your hands down and move your hips a little bit side to side. Keep breathing. Ground the inner edges of your hands into the earth, the tips of your fingers into the floor, so that you are grounded in this power that holds you. Maybe circle your hips in one direction. So if there's any other movement in your spine that you would like to do right now that feels good, you can go for it. If you're circling, change directions. And by the way, if putting weight on your hands right now doesn't feel good, if it feels like too much, you can do this with your hands on a wall, or you can do this with your forearms resting on a couch, on blocks, on a bench, on a stool. So you can find a way to do this without your wrists bearing the weight of your body. Deep breath in, reach your hips back and your chest forward, and with an exhalation, slowly lift your hips up and back and reach into downward facing dog. And if you're not wanting to put weight on your hands, you can do that with your hands on a wall. So you would be at a wall and holding like so. You can bend your knees if your lower back feels tight. And reach your hips up towards the sky. As you reach your hips, lift your arm bones up as well and push the ground away from you with your hands, so there's a deeper opening, a deeper stretch, a deeper opening into where you are, and a deeper stretch of your mind, so that you're not stuck in only one way of seeing things. This is what maybe some of us need to do right now in response to what's happening. Reach your heels towards the earth and breathe. The dark goddesses invite us into a complexity and into a complex relationship with the world. It's not simple. Inhale your right leg up, bend your right knee, open up your right hip. Reach your leg back with a deep breath in, stretch your leg straight, and exhale. Bring your right foot outside of your right hand and bring your left knee to the floor and pull your chest forward. Maybe move a little bit side to side. Again, we are moving with the intention to move our perspective a little bit, to not get rigid in our opinions, to not get caught in someone's agenda and propaganda. But the dark goddesses invite us into the complexity of the world and into the paradoxes of the world, not to an over simplistic view. Deep breath in. Dark goddesses, exhale to downward facing dog, our invitation into a much more rich, nuanced, and ambiguous way of seeing a world that is nuanced, ambiguous, paradoxical, and complex. Left leg up, deep breath in. That's why they're dark. Bend the knee and open up the hip, because they hold everything. They can take everything. They embrace the entirety. Reach your leg back, deep breath in. Exhale, bring your foot outside of your left hand and bring your right knee to the floor. And again, if it feels good for you, you can move your hips around a little bit. Move your perspective around a little bit. The darkness of the season invites us deep inside. Darkness is the invitation into an internal space, into the nocturnal within us that allows us to rest so that we are wiser and more reflective. It's not that we don't need to also rise and take action. Absolutely not. This is not speaking against the other side of it, which is light, but it's an inclusive invitation. Deep breath in. Exhale into downward facing dog. And it is an invitation into inclusion of the whole of ourselves. Think of how complex you are. Ground your hands into the floor. Deep breath in. Exhale, walk your hands back towards your feet into Uttanasana. Make sure that your feet are parallel. Separate them as wide as your hips. For some of us, feet parallel is actually not the best, but for a lot of us it is. So if it's not the best and you know that it isn't, ignore my instructions. Deep breath in, look forward, halfway up. My instructions are suggesting exhale, fold in, but you know your body better than I do. Inhale, look forward. Just make sure the feet are parallel. Sorry, I was just speaking that it doesn't have to be parallel. Exhale, fold in, but as wide as your hips so that's a little bit more open. We are practicing an openness of mind. Inhale, look forward. And exhale, slowly fold in. If Uttanasana is too much, you can bend your knees here. Should have said it earlier, but I didn't. So if you need to bend your knees, if having your hands on the floor is an absolute torture and not possible for you, again, put your hands on a chair, on blocks, on a couch. Do what you need to do to keep yourself with it, in it, and to take good care of yourself as you do. Good care of yourself as the dark goddess would. Hold your elbows with opposite hands and let your spine elongate towards the earth as the weight on the balls of your feet becomes heavy. And at the same time, energetically pull your heels back so that your hamstrings are strong as they arrive in the depth of the stretch. Slow breath in. Slow breath out. Inhale, look forward. Dark goddesses are often in mythology. Exhale, walk your hands forward to downward facing dog. Invitations to receive the entirety of our own being, to assimilate who we are, to work with the intensity, the dark energy of the world, which isn't necessarily bad. When we say dark, we associate it with bad. The dark energy of the world is not necessarily bad. Bring your knees to the floor. Feet together, knees apart. Child's pose again. Rest your forearms on the ground. Rest your forehead on the earth and breathe in slowly. Breathe out mindfully. Receive yourself exactly where you are right now. Deep breath in. And a slow breath out. And the receptivity of the darkness also then allows us to move around and actually not get stuck. Inhale to all fours again. Look forward with your hips back and your chest forward. Ground your hands. Exhale up and back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift right leg up. Exhale, bring your right foot 2/3 of the way forward, Parsvottanasana. We're going to spin the left heel to the floor and turn it out a little bit. So the feet here are not parallel. The left toes slightly turn out. Ground into the ball of your right foot. And if your hamstrings are not open enough for this position, put your hands on blocks. Put your hands on a chair, on a couch. Take good care of your body. Don't push it too hard, but challenge yourself just enough so that there is growth. With the ball of the foot rooting into the earth, breathe in. As you ground your fingertips into the floor, lift your belly up a little bit and then send your chest toward the right foot with your elbows bent. Keep the ball of the foot rooted and the left heel grounded. Deep breath in. Plant the hands and exhale, step back, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Adjust as needed in the darkness. We get to move around and adjust and learn. The darkness is where we gain the depth of our wisdom. Hips reach up, heels root down. Inhale the left leg up, ground through the inner edges of your hands and the tips of your fingers. Exhale, step your left foot 2/3 of the way forward. Parsvottanasana, step your right foot a little to the right as you turn your right toes out. Root into the fingertips of both of your hands and breathe. Ground into the ball of your left foot. Push the fingertips down, root into the right heel, and send your sternum, your breastbone, your chest towards your left foot. Slow breath in. Slow breath out. What are you receiving in the internal space, in the direction of down and in? What parts of you do you need to make a deeper connection with? What's lurking in your own darkness? What are your hungry ghosts? And how will you feed them? What kind of a feast will you make for the parts of you that you tend to want to lock in the dark and hide the key from? Inhale deeply. Exhale, root your hands and step back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Root down into hands, into heels. Reach up into hips. Slow breath in. And with a slow exhalation, walk your hands back into Uttanasana again. Take care of yourself, whatever you need. Hands on other places other than floor if needed. Slowly inhale and look forward. Slowly exhale and fold back in. With your index and your middle fingers, hook your big toe and pull your big toe with your fingers as you push down with your big toe into your fingers. Bend your elbows to the sides and let yourself fold a little more deeply in. If your upper body, your shoulders want to move around a little bit, that is fantastic. Listen to yourself, because what happens when we go into the dark is a deeper capacity to listen. And a deeper capacity to listen might be exactly what the world needs right now, rather than jumping into conclusion and taking in partial pieces of a very big and complicated and complex picture. A deeper listening. So the way that we take in the information doesn't become misinformation. There's a lot of misinformation out there. So we breathe during this time of great trouble. And we give ourselves and each other an opportunity to listen so that we can all learn, so that we can all grow. So maybe we can even possibly, maybe possibly become more helpful too. Release the fingers from the big toe. Inhale, look forward halfway up. And with an exhalation, walk forward into downward facing dog. Again, Adho Mukha Svanasana, hands are rooted, hips reach up, heels root down. Deep breath in. Exhale, bring your knees to the floor, come back into child's pose. Big toes touch, knees wide apart. Take the arms this time out to the sides, come up higher on your fingertips. Move your torso a little bit side to side so that you can snuggle in the space between your thighs and forehead on the earth. As you breathe here, root the fingertips down, lift your elbows up, and draw the scapulas, the shoulder blades, a little more towards one another. Maybe move them around a little bit so the back of your heart is not locked. It's movable. And we remind ourselves to not close our hearts, to keep ourselves, not close our minds either. Keep ourselves moving the perspective and the point of view so that we can see more of the picture, not less, not stuck. And these are the dark goddesses' greatest invitation. We have Hecate, goddess of the crossroads, inviting us to a complicated moment, to a pause between spaces. Send your chest forward, inhale. And take a seat. Bring the soles of your feet together into Baddha Konasana. Move your hips a little bit side to side. Maybe even sit up on something, on a blanket or something, so that you're more elevated with your hips if you need to. Hold your ankles and pull on your ankles as you lengthen your spine. Deep breath in. As you exhale, send your chest forward and come into a forward bend here if you can. And if not, if this is too much for you, stay seated. Hold the ankles, pull on the ankles, lengthen your spine. This might be enough for you. So listen to where you are. Listen to what you need. Listen to the space you're in. And listen even deeper to the space within you that you might need to create for yourself and for more than yourself. Breathe slowly. Keep breathing deeply. Go as deep as it feels good for you here, or as gently as feels safe and supportive. Keep your spine long. Keep lengthening your sternum, your chest, either forward if you're folding forward or more up if you're more seated upright. And then send your chest forward to come up. Inhale. And stretch both of your legs forward and flex your feet. Ground your feet into the earth. Maybe, if this is enough for you, you can stay here by putting your fingertips down and lifting your chest and lengthening your spine. Again, sitting up on something can be really helpful here. Press the backs of your legs deeply down into the floor. Deep breath in. And if you have it in, if it feels supportive for your system, send your chest forward towards your feet and come forward into Paschimottanasana. Maybe hold on to your feet here and pull on the outer edges of your feet so you can lengthen yourself more in your spine and send your chest forward more. Keep the backs of your legs rooted, and with every inhalation, ground the back of your hips, lengthen your spine, and with every exhalation, send yourself forward more if you're folding all the way forward. Send your chest forward. Inhale, come up. Come to lie on your back. Take your knees as wide as your mat. Open your arms out to the sides. And with an exhalation, take your knees to the right. And if you need to, you can place something underneath your knees for more support. Let your chest and your head gently turn to the left. And even this pose, as we go into a gentle supine twist, it shows us that we can move in two opposite directions at the same time and still hold the truth. Because the truth is often paradoxical. It is often a yes and, a both and. Inhale back to center. Exhale your knees to the left and your chest to the right. The truth is often a paradox. And dark goddesses help us see it because they're so intense. They're ferocious. We have Kali from the Hindu tradition, who is extremely fierce, primordial, primal power. And she's the most loving mother. She is the dark embrace that holds us in her bosom and allows us to rest, to soften, to cry, to grieve, to love more deeply. Dark goddesses invite us into the mythopoetic, the archetypal presence of complexity itself. Inhale your knees to center. And bring your knees into your chest, and you can move a little side to side. And then allow your body to relax, to release, and to rest here for as long as you'd like, as long as you have time for. And I would love for you, if you're interested and this speaks to you, join me for the Samhain somatic ceremony. It celebrates the middle of fall and the power of this time that takes us into the darkness, into death and decay as spaces of regeneration and recreation. And I will leave a link in the description of the video so you can check out all the details. There's many practices for you. There's a whole mythopoetic conversation. So if you're into it, we go deep into several of the dark goddesses that I mentioned today. And I would love for you to join. So thank you for joining for this moment, and take care of yourself in these difficult times. And if you loved this video, put a like on it, share it with your peeps, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll see you soon. Namaste, beautiful souls.